V'al ha-milchamos, al ha-nisim, v'al ha-purkon, v'al ha-gvuros, v'al ha-tshuos, v'al ha-milchamos, she'asis alav eseinu, bayamim ha'hem b'zman hazeh. Al ha-nisim, v'al ha-purkon, v'al ha-gvuros, v'al ha-tshuos, v'al ha-milchamos, she'asis alav eseinu, bayamim ha'hem b'zman hazeh. Rabbi, sorry, I'm serenading you, my audience, with a very uplifted mood. It's Chanukah. Chanukah is v'kovu sh'yimanis me'elu. It's halal v'hoidah, moida Hashem, moida ani lefanecha Hashem alikai v'alikai v'sai, shesamti chelki bein hamizakim l'rabim, bein hapirushim, v'loi hamisyavnim, v'loi hatzedukim, baruch Hashem, hoidu l'Hashem, v'kol b'shir, shir unana. So I was serenading you, my wonderful audience. We're trying something new. I'm going live on YouTube. I said 10 o'clock, but listen, I've got ADD, and Baruch Hashem, I did it by 10:10. So it's really, you can even make a drasha 10, and 10 is 10, 10, 10 is 10 to the 10th. It's mamish more accurate. My Rabbi say, welcome to the program, heard each and every Sunday night, and this is the sneak preview. We're doing it live on Wednesday evening for those of you who are tuned into YouTube, and hopefully you'll be able to see it, hear it on the radio at 6:20 a.m., 11 at 11, each and every Leil Shishi Thursday night at 6:20 a.m. You can access it if you have a heter for the internet. And who doesn't have a heter now? Our goodness Yisrael officially made it. Mutter lechatchila ribber. And Satmar does it, and Lubavitch does it, and Bobiv does it, and Kloisenberg does it, no, you does it, so Baruch Hashem. So we're just following Aktanim and Magdalim. Us little folks are following the Gedalim. You could also welcome and spread the word. Those of you who are B'nai Torah and Taka don't have an internet and don't have a radio, etc., please spread the word. Merev Rabbi Sai, the hotline. This is crucial. 641-715-3900. Again, the hotline. This is how you zeicha to Olam Haba. Yesh kanei lamai b'sha'achas. Can be kind of shtick olam haba, mamish in a minute. Put this up in your local shtibel. Pass it around surreptitiously. Nobody should know. Say, hey, Yehuda Levin, the incorrigible, the incontrovertible, the troublemaker, the dartboard of Klal Yisrael, the tzedreiter, the right-wing extremist. Yehuda Levin can be heard on the hotline at 641-715-3900. And you have to earn it. You have to mamish. It's very schwer because in a good hotline, you get right to Yehuda Levin when you just call in the number. But we have a shvacha hotline, so you have to also remember, which I still don't remember. You have to remember 2476. You have to remember 2476 56. Again, 2476 56. You have to remember that, to press that in order to access my program. And I understand that some people told me, I don't even know. Some people told me it's not even archived. All the programs are not archived. I have to check in with my person if it's taka archived or not. Because basically, my Rabbi said, the shaila is, I don't know if it's archived or not. The program is archived or not. But we're working on getting an updated hotline. In Yitzhak Hashem, we get the updated hotline, so hopefully we won't have to press in a certain code, and we'll have different boxes. You'll be able to hear Machshavei Seichem, my little Chedushay Torah, if that interests you, and I hope it does. You'll be able to hear my pithy, small, quick, blick comments on things in real time. You'll be able to hear the weekly program. It'll be archived. So in Yitzhak Hashem, there'll be all kinds of goodies, and that's in the works because we're doing it all for you. Klal Yisrael, yes sirree. We're trying our level best. Remember, all these programs are archived on Levin at 11, Levin at 11, and it's also on Rabbi.zone. Rabbi.zone is they can never take it off. It's a foolproof place. Let me begin this evening. I have a good chaver for many years, Reb Shlomo we'll call him. And Reb Shlomo is very stark in favor of vaccinations. Vaccinations is the concentration. Vaccinations is good for you and me. Nothing's wrong with vaccinations. Everything is 100% Rabbi Aaron Glatt kosher. Yes, sirree. Yes, sirree. Vaccinations. Nobody ever had a problem with any vaccinations. Whoever thinks they did is mishuga and mamish tzidreit, right? But they're not, unfortunately. But I want to make it clear. Anyhow, my friend said, you know, you could be Levin, that you're so powerful and you're so influential that by merely saying, I want to present a little of the other side, that there's two sides on the vaccination issue, it's a ken zayin that you'll be responsible to be machazik some people not to vaccinate their children. So he called me up to remind me, as I asked him this week, I am not taking a position. And don't anybody, I take no achrayus if you decide not to vaccinate your kids. I take no achrayus if you do vaccinate your kids. All I can say is you should hear both parts of the argument. And therefore, I'm very happy that I did a little bit of a presenting of Astad Hasheni for all of those erlichats of brachana people, Jews and Gentiles alike, who are suffering with their children because of vaccinations. I'm holding up this week's Jewish press for two reasons. I'm going to turn to the page. Inside the Jewish press, my dear friends, inside the Jewish press, on page, let's see, on page 9, I think it's page 9. I'm holding it up. I'm telling you, I very strongly suggest that people see the Jewish press, certainly online, if you go online, but even better to be a subscriber. I've said it before, I take achrayus that you should subscribe. You don't have to subscribe to everything they say when you pay subscription. We should be machazik because they're doing good things. They're upgrading. They have articles on Rabbi Avigdor Miller's Torah. They have a Torah from Hershel Schachter on Halacha. This week's shtickle is about gambling. You're allowed to play cards on. I didn't even see what it says, but it's interesting. Here's an article from the Jewish press on page 9. I'm holding it up to the screen. And what it says is a Dr. Rochelle Meth, who's been in practice for decades in the Kew Garden Hills areas, are vaccine advocates telling the whole truth. And basically, she's criticizing Dr. Harav Hagoyin of Aaron Glatt, who's a million times a Talmid Chacham and a medical doctor, which I'm not in any way, I don't come close to him. But she was criticizing his bedside manner, if I may say it. In other words, be minded to people that there are chashashis, etc., etc. And she says by giving the covet to the people, etc., etc., of speaking in a certain way and acknowledging their legitimate fears and concerns, she claims that she's gotten everybody, even anti-vaxxers, to vaccinate. I'm not sure if that's the answer, but it's a kudos to the Jewish press for even publishing that much from an established medical doctor who's not talking to us like these other doctors do and these other people do. Avada Taranto Rabbanim came out and they said, Ahin Neher. All right, look. I don't know. I still think of Shmuel Kamenetsky or Gil Kotler. I heard of Chaim Kanievsky, and there are probably others, etc., etc. All right, leave it alone. But again, I'm not telling you not to vaccinate. Speaking of the Jewish press, I'm holding this up very proudly on page 8 of the Jewish press. Page 8. This is an article by yours truly. The article is, what are we celebrating on Hanukkah? Now, the article is really much, much, much longer, but it was edited beautifully and boiled down so they could fit in a half a page in the Jewish press. And believe me, it's going to be online in this format. And I'm going to try to put, if I can figure out how to get from my email account, how I can get the longer nusach put out and transferred over to WhatsApp, or I'm going to try to put it up on WhatsApp once I get that together. I'm not sure exactly how you do that, but it's to see the longer article. And basically, I'm making the point that that's a pasuk, and I think Daniel, that prognosticates there's going to be a Hanukkah celebration based on you aroused your sons of Zion, the Yidden, the Erlich Yidden against Banecha Yavan. What is Banecha Yavan? You call Banecha Hitler, Banecha the Romans, Banecha the Crusaders, Banecha the Spanish Inquisition. What's happened to Banecha? They made it finster and chayshach. So the answer is, but the misyavnim. So really, there's a dual war going on here. One is the revolutionary war against the Yavanim, and one is the civil war against misyavnim. That's basically my point. I'm not the first one to make this point, but I'm emphasizing it now because too many people, their heads are too stuffed up with the donuts. What do I mean? You walk into a grocery store now. By the way, I saw statistics last year of the, I don't know, maybe the millions of donuts that are made by bakeries in Eretz Yisrael in America. Yeah, and the donuts can cost now $2.25 between the dollar, because why? They have caramel with the cappuccino in it. And then they have the sushi donut, and on and on and on. The toffel became the kartoffel, the potato became the ikar of Chanukah, and it's worse than kartoffel now. Now it's the donut. If you don't have a donut, you're not misnaging the whole Chanukah. You're missing out the whole Chanukah. It's a wichtige part how many donuts you can eat. Lahavdil if you have dollars. The Noitzrim, the Christians, celebrate Kratzmach, Xmas. And one of the things that they have is they have a certain drink that they drink, or at least they used to. I read this because I've read secular stuff. It's called eggnog. So eggnog is a major part of the Xmas. And if the Christian is drinking eggnog, he comes over and he sees a Jew on the subway. And it's the holiday time, the holiday spirit. So he wants to make conversation. He says, so tell me, our food is an eggnog and other things. What is yours? So it's a big toss-up now. If the person will say potato latkes, and potatoes didn't exist in Eretz Yisrael at that time, you know, people say, thank goodness potatoes didn't exist at the time that the Chazal made the Gezeres on Shabbos, on Pesach, because if it would have existed, they would have assered it probably, and we wouldn't be able to survive on potatoes. So many things are made out of potato starch. Kitnius, right? At the time of Kitnius, they hadn't discovered yet the potatoes. It was only known in certain parts, maybe in America or something. Anyhow, let's not get a field. It's already 1/5 of the program is already over. So I commend the Jewish press for publishing this. And once again, I urge you, they're not paying me. I pay them for a subscription. But I hold this kedai to be machazik them because we want them to continue to hold up a standard of a new, higher standard of journalism, of religio journalism, of cultural journalism. In this week's dispatch, once again, they speak about the fact that marijuana is about to become law in New Jersey, and they point out some of the legislators. Is it Gary Sher? Is it Singer? You know, you have to make sure, don't take it for granted. And there's another bill that just it's going to be tomorrow. There's going to be a hearing on this bill in the Education Committee. And in all the public schools, they have to revamp the way they teach history to put an emphasis on alle Geachts, on alle Schmutzjakin, or people that they assume, Mishkevei Zocher, etc., etc. And they're doing it in a neutral, regular way, you know, not taking side of the place. But what they're doing is they're desensitizing the whole generation of public school youth to start to look at people heroic for their bedroom misbehavior. Now, believe me, you mark it down. You heard it here first. Right now, it's only the public schools because this is through the Board of Education, the State Board of Education, or whatever it is. Believe me, you. When they tighten the noose enough, when they tighten it enough, then they surround it and squeeze enough, they're going to come to the Frumme Yidden. Yes, they will. Just like in England, what they're making, they're closing down schools and they're threatening schools and intolerante, as they say in the tolerant of the Mishkei Zocher, etc. Och and Vei. And as I spoke about a few weeks ago, finally, weeks after I came out with the Machar, there were Rabbanim in Eretz Yisrael. I can't remember if there were also any in Europe. Oh, yeah, there was some Choshev Rabbanim, maybe Moshe Sternbuch and others who came out and blasted Rabbi Merwitz. What are you doing? He's doing it for all. Probably they do. He should light the Hanukkah candles because he's fighting against the Yevonim. He's fighting for Yiddishkeit by Shosh, Talacha, and everything. Today it'll be Hayoim Amalus Mishkav Zacha. Tomorrow it'll be transgender. Then it'll be Yechvesvos, LBQT, RSPRW, and that's the way it goes. That's the way it goes, my vice. Yeah. So we're jumping from one thing to the other. But the Jewish press now, it's very interesting because somebody sent an article that Rabbi Meyer we call him Meir Kahana, that he wrote in this early 1970s, where he wrote an in-depth article about Hanukkah, and he showed like why are the Freya, the free thinkers, the conservatives and reform, why are they celebrating Hanukkah? It's about the destruction, the fighting against the Hellenists, the progressives, the liberals, the people who Simcha Eichenstein tells us in the Aguda session that he already notifies us. Simcha Eichenstein, you have to talk to these people, you have to deal with them, you can't throw out the baby with the bathwater. Parenthetically, I'm jumping from thing to thing. Halt cup, Rabbi say, halt cup. So Simcha Eichenstein, I'm telling you, we're going to suffer from him. It's going to be Chil Hashem after Chil Hashem. He showed us clearly. He came into our Aguda's living room, and he told us all what he's going to do, how he's going to be accommodating the people who misuse and bring into the living rooms, the bedrooms, through their promotion of pro-deviance bills. And you have to talk to them. You have to do with them. Parenthetically, there was some rocket scientist, I don't know who, I heard it, that the rocket scientist said on Sunday, listen, there's a certain state senator who's probably talking about the mushcheses. I don't know if she's personal mushcheses. She might quite well be. Who has a part of Borough Park, Diane Savino, who's good on schools. She wants to help schools. I'd like to see in dollars and cents exactly how much she helped that was selling out. And she's against assisted suicide. No, what can we do? So some rocket scientist says, we have to turn the other cheek. We have to work with her. I'm sure Simcha Eichenstein would agree. We're going to have plenty of sorrows. There'll be more molestations of children. There'll be more chazivai, because Hashem is kel nekomis Hashem, kel nekomis Sophia. Okay? Mitzvah l'sanoisum l'skaiti temahem. But Simcha Eichenstein and company, they all know better. All of them. Meir Lichtenstein, Simcha Eichenstein, and David is in the Choishes. The Yavan is in the Choishes, which is in Yavan. David Greenfield's a gewaldige Yavani Misyavni. He passed at least he voted for and helped promote 10 deviant bills, whether it was with abortion or whether it was with Mishkevei Zoch or stuff like that. Fesh, meh. And they're all telling us, now good is trumpeting this. They're putting on the three stooges of sodomy. That means in one way or another, they fraternized with people who promote sodomy, or they voted for sodomy, or they turned the other cheek to politicians who are pro-sodomy. So I call them the three stooges of sodomy. You understand? This is what we're having. Now, good, this is what we saw at the Turkey Fest, gobble, gobble. This is what we have to look forward to. You understand? Schrecklich terrible. Where are we holding Meir Rabbi Sai? Let's go weiter. Let's go weiter. So we talked about the vaccine. We talked about the article. Yes. I want to tell you something, Meir Rabbi Sai. There is some tzaddik that's on the WhatsApp that is sending around his stuff, and I always want to discover who he is. He's gewaldig, and I think I heard him before another Yontif, and this person is articulate, and he speaks. Speaking divrei Torah, let him be heard, let him be heard, let him be heard. He has so much good stuff to say. He lightens up the ruchnius of each and every time. Every day, everything he says. Yes, this gentleman speaks about two segulas. One is the school of Hanukkah from the Berdichva, which I was quasi-aware of, but not in Gansen. That means that by the brachas, each of the words are 13 oisius. That's why the Hasidim say lahadlik ner Hanukkah, because if you say shel Hanukkah, it's 14. And when you put the 13 together, this he didn't say, you get Shem Havaya. So you Yached and Ma'ached with Shem Havaya. But some people make up Shara. They don't want to not say Shel. And if they say Shel, it's 14. So they say Shel Chanukah in one word, which is what I started to do. So you have in mind connected the Sholosh Esrei Midas that Hashem responds to, the Sholosh Esrei Midas. And therefore, B'shas Hadlakas Neirish, you should have in mind the Sholosh Esrei Midas. If you want to be attached to it, and you do this by the brachas, I think you can also have in mind the Shem Havaya. I'm adding that parenthetically, that Hashem is Yud Kevake, which is 2 times 13, which is 26, and the two brachas. And you have in mind by the first bracha, the ness of the oil, the shemen, the others, you have in mind all the other nisim, the milchama, ala nisim, vala chuis, vala gvuris, etc., everything else. And you also have in mind there are Simcha Zisel and others. The Machzavitri has a gears, I think, Ubizman Hazeh. The Bizman Hazeh means this time as well that Hashem continues to do nisim to us. That's why this is one of the reasons why Al Hanisim is situated by Neidulach and Maiden, because we use this as a jumping off point for all the miracles and all the good things that HaKadosh Baruch Hu does to us. So he says, if you have in mind the Shalosh Esrei Midas during the brachas, and then afterwards, at some point, the shira, it's a shira, it's brachas that you sing afterwards. By the menorah, you should say he brings down from, let's see, I can't remember exactly who brings it down from, but he brings down that you should say, he brings down that you should say the Tehillim Kuf Yud Beis, and that the Chedusha room says the Seifei Davis of one of the Psukim Kuf Yud Beis is Chanukah, and it has to do with it says Soimach, that you're Soimach on Hashem, and therefore when you say Kuf Yud Beis, it's related to this thing, and the segula of kicking in that you can ask during the time of the Shalosh Esrei Midas by the Chanukah menorah, whatever it is you need, Shidduchim, Parnasa, help with kids, etc., etc., and it's a clear channel, so to speak. It's a big segula. So thank you very much for that segula. The second segula that he says is, when there's a tripartite situation that you take out 3 Sefer Torahs, which is this Shabbos, Rosh Chodesh, and Chanukah. So you do the Parashah, Shabbos, and Chanukah. By Yivin Sayar, when the Aron is opened, there's a special channel that goes straight up to Shara Shemayim, open in a certain unique way. He says it's over from the Tolner Rebbe, who says it over from the Pnei Menachem of Ger, and therefore you should daven then. It's a very auspicious time. So I thank you very much for saying this. And if you gain nothing else, then you gain these segulas. It's already Kedai Meir Rabbeisai. Now let's move right along here. I want to thank Aguda, because when Aguda now puts on all of their sessions, that's Yiddish for sessions, they put it on the internet. So even though it stopped a dozen times and I didn't have the patience to go through the whole thing, the whole hour session to see the 3 stooges of sodomy promoting that we have to make kuchin you with the politicians and everything else, you'll notice what Eichenstein says, our values, and he talks about our values and education, the G word or the schmutz word or the word schmutz or anything, bischasya, he doesn't say, you understand? We have to explain to people, I want to know how Simcha's going to explain to them how our problems with transgendered bathroom. Will he be able to explain it for Rabin maybe in his inaugural speech, Simcha, that he should tell everybody we're against transgendered bathroom, explain we're against assisted suicide, explain that we can't go and turn the other cheek when you push transgendered bathrooms, assisted suicide, homosexual adoption, and alamini shtusim, you tighten the noose under us that eventually they're going to come to your 2-family houses and they're going to start pushing that you have to rent to the Mishkei Zacho, going to be very expressive and very direct, and they'll wear this t-shirts and they'll tell your children what they think about Mishkei Zacho. And if you say one word, you're discriminating, you'll be up for trouble, my boys. You'll be up for big trouble. Yeah. Yeah. And lately, for those who see, I've been putting up my WhatsApp stuff. I'm very prolific. I put out 3 or 4 videos a day, Keseder, to meet and consider, and I try to push it out as much as possible. I'm not telling anybody to be mevatel from Torah, from their avoidance to go on WhatsApp, but I'm saying if you do go on WhatsApp, you should try to take a look at my stuff. I have to keep out the minavolim, so all of my WhatsApp chats, they were only open 1 or 2 of them at a limited amount of time that we let people comment, because in the past we've had another type of 3 stooges, evil people. One of them from Detroit, Michigan, a 24-year-old hiding out in his father's basement. And another one, a 45 or so year old Oisvar from Flatbush. And the third one who had to apologize to me publicly because he was trying to spam pornography and he chepped with Maidlach, with women, he chepped in pornography. And his family, I identified him, so his family gave it to Bibrin Kopp, so he had to stop it. You should know these Rishoyim, with Misyavnim, are working as hard as possible to try to get to a way of chepping me, and they're putting out stuff together with the one who's making the New Year's party that got kicked out of Garden of Eden in Avenue J, and now she's pushing it in to a mixed crowd to quote unquote ring in the New Year in Borough Park in a restaurant. And I understand a lot of people are very upset. So anyhow, these people are working. She's releasing voice messages that say, I'm a boyfriend. I was chatting her up. I'm saying it on the thing. I was not interested in any romanticisms with a woman half my age and maybe twice my size Miss Leah Forrester, who can't keep her garbage with Flatbush Mama and this person Rose. They can't keep their garbage in Yavani Town. They can't put it in Greenwich Village. They have to ring in the New Year dafka in a frumah venue. You know why? Because the Misyavnim Chazer freshers of old, that Yehuda Maccabee started the revolution by Matisyahu by cutting off the head in Modi'in of the Chazer fresher Alta Terach Yavani Misyavni Yid. So they have their drawn. The part of the evil is, I'm a Misyavni, you got to be a Misyavni. Then you have this screaming Mimi woman. I don't know who she was. If that was Flatbush Mom, I don't think so. And she was screaming and yelling for 7 minutes and alluding to me. Who says in the Torah you judge people? She doesn't know about the She doesn't know about anything. Amaratzata, the new liberal thing. You don't judge anybody. We don't have to judge you at Tipsha, we'll call it screaming Mimi Tipsha. We don't have to judge. Hashem judges. Lahavdil is like the Pope. Maybe it's not Lahavdil. The Pope was flying back in his plane early on in his papacy. This liberal Pope who's like a Trojan horse, Francis, who's pushing all kinds of schmutz and turning the chicken schmutz into the Catholic Church, and they're platzig b'mim, the devout Catholics, and as the crystals, we have to look at this, and I put out videos on this. We have to understand, what does it apply to us? What's going on in the church level? Who cares? We do care, because when the Catholics sneeze, the Jews get a cold. As if it's a crystals, we have to understand it's a macrocosm. We're a microcosm, they're a macrocosm, big of what's happening to us. You understand? And the Pope was asked on a plane, he says, who am I to judge? When he said, who am I to judge? I put out a statement, respectfully, Il Papa, the Pope, the Father, respectfully. Nobody's asking you to judge. The Torah is the instruction booklet. They already told us what to judge. They judge. We're just supposed to carry out. So who's attacking who? We're attacking them. We're not attacking them. Go into your nether holes. Yeshav bin no kveihon, as ArtScroll translates it. Yeshav bin no kveihon. Nether holes, clefts in the rock. Take the evil, stick yourself in the cleft, get out of here. Now, that hurts us if you do it, even if you do it in Greenwich Village, because we live in the same ship called the world. So what you do, Jew boy, shakes up all Jewess, shakes up all the ulamas, unlike their Muslims, their Masusim of the Ein Yehudim that don't shake up all the ulamas, they don't convey tumah. What you do does. So really, I don't wish you should do it anywhere. But if you have to do it, and you don't have enough grace to follow the Bali and Yishalmi and go to a place where nobody recognizes you in disguise and do your Aveira and come back and be a hypocrite for your children's sake, for your daughter's sake, for your children's sake, for the community's sake. If you don't, then get thee quickly to the nether holes of Greenwich Village and the comedy clubs there. They would appreciate your Chatzirah. And yes, there's voicemails. We're in an effort to speak to her and be, yes, ask her, please, if you want to shaykhus with your family, which you were crying to me, not crying literally, but very sad, which I understand. So I told her, one of the ways is, what do you have to wear trousers for? What do you have to do lo yilbash, right? Or silbash? Don't wear trousers. Bishlam, you have to do other things. Trousers you have to wear. So this is a terrible thing. And I said at different points, I said, maybe we could have a comedy act together. This was a comedy act because I went to her because I was fighting with her and with other Mishkevei Zocha, like Levovitz and Chaim Levin and stuff that Rubenfeld, hiding out in a basement somewhere in Detroit, Yossi Rubenfeld, another miscreant, was putting on all these shmutzyakin, there's a pro-shmutzyakin, and I was making songs, I was making comedy acts, I was Dama Lahoshib. So she commented beautiful, so I went forward and I got in touch with her. Was it a mistake? Obviously it was a mistake. And she imparted in me how Tzibrachim she is and everything else and everything and this and that. The bottom line is, it could be that I spoke a little too flippantly, but they keep on playing on voicemails. I don't listen to them anymore. Up. Ich weiß, the Rebbeinu Shalom weiß, and I'm standing on my 40-year career. And don't flatter yourself, Miss Forster. I come at full square against what you're doing. You are corrupting our youth together with Flatbush, the corrupter mama. And I don't know about this Rose, but obviously she's no tzaddikus if she's hanging with them. And let me say this, I am not advising at this point that anybody else call up and try to stop this thing that's taking place in a border park situation. What they did was they booked a party, quote unquote, in Borough Park, and they didn't tell the balabusta of the establishment, the eatery, what they're planning on doing. Okay? So now we have to see. But believe me, if this thing isn't resolved, then believe me, there's going to be a big oilam, and there's going to be big protests, and there's going to be Laman Yishmu V'Yaro, hopefully Derechad Dachinayim, but we're not going to turn the other cheek to the schmutz. It has to be fought in every way, and I'll tell you what's going on. This is Jew think. There's a guy named Jack Phillips, an evangelical Christian from Colorado. He had a bakery, and he was sell regular cakes, and then he would sell artistic cakes that he made for weddings. And he refused, because of his religious convictions, to make a cake for a Mishkevei Zocher couple. He told them, you can go down the street, the other bakery will do it. But no, just the same way Forster and Forrester, whatever her name is, and Rose and Flatbush, Mama, she wants to be the mama over us, the one who's busy trancing around with Abby, the full Tachana Stein, the first Hasidic transgender. Flatbush Mama, who's telling everybody that all the kids and the teeny boopers, etc., that they have to dialogue with the LBGQRSTUV and off the derech crowd. This is what she's doing. As Avia, as Ima, Professor, he mechaleles, shame. You understand? So these people, these corruptors, they're doing this, the dafka, to do it in our face, okay? They're doing the same as that Mishkevei Zocher couple that had to force the religious Jack Phillips. So he faced a $150,000 fine from the anti-religious bigots of the Human Rights Commission of Colorado. And then he had a GoFundMe page, and quickly Umas HaOlam, Akum from around the country, Gentiles, donated the $150,000. You understand? They stood up, they put their money where their convictions, their religious convictions are. Leman Yishmu V'Yaro, we should see what's happening in Christianity and these things. It's a message to us. Armati Tiri, Sefania 6, Ach Tiri V'Tikki Musar. As the Sharmat Yam Halacha paskind, Viksav, and I ran against Meir Koch. He said, Chil Hashem message with what the Gentiles are doing. So Jack Phillips, so the GoFundMe people heard the anti-Mishkav Zocher, this and that. So I think they gave back the money. They wouldn't give it to him, whatever it is. But a Christian organization, the Alliance Defense Fund, went to bat, and they carried this case, and they beat in the Supreme Court. So you know what the Rishoyim are doing in Colorado? They're finding another technicality to try to cancel him all over again. But he's standing firm. Now it's our turn. The Mishkevei Zocher equivalents, the three feminazis, meaning, what do I mean by Nazis? It's a sheker chazak, you call Nazi. Listen, what is Erev Rav? Erev Rav are people who had the Amaleki type agenda. They were Jews, okay? This is feminazis in terms, not taken from the Nazis. The Nazis only killed us in this world, and these misyavnims, these misyavnot, are trying to kill us in this world and the next. They're trying to shove their garbage down our throats. They're trying to come inside our chayma, the shrub that separates the Gentiles from the Jews in the Beis HaMikdash that was 10 tvachim high. They made sholish esrei pirtzes, 13 pirtzes. Kineged the sholish esrei midrash ater in the dreshes. And by the way, we could say al pi drush, maybe that's one of the reasons that the sholish esrei midrash are involved in Hanukkah. And Hanukkah is koruch, it's intertwined with the Shalosh Esrei Midas of Rachman, because they made a pritz in that, a pirtz in that. So we have to show them a serious nefesh, arata nitzchacha, you ma'ayir us to be menatzech, to fight to the end. It's obvious to me there won't be one Rav, one Rosh Yeshiva, one Rebbe who has this insight. Am I special? Am I blowing my own shofar? No. I am a Maisa Kuf Ba'alma. I am special, yes, because I was plucked out of obscurity by Rav Victor Miller, the Kasher Rav, the Devatzin, the Rav, Moshe Halberstam, and so many others. And I have 40 years of experience, so I see things in a way that other people don't. I see things through the spectacles of Torah, Hashkafa, of the Gedolim of yesteryear, that they make chayzik of me. But I proudly stand with them, and therefore I understand that Jack Phillips was a preparation for what's going on today in a microcosm. It's going on in our backyard. N-I-M-B-Y, NIMBY, not in my backyard. That's why this is coming to the fore in Hanukkah, because we're asked to stand up like the Maccabees did against not just the Yevani culture, but the Misyavnim who are pushing it. These women are the equivalent 1,000% of an Erev Rav. They're worse because the Erev Rav was killing them like the Amalekim v'zeu b'ba. Gadol hamachtia yosim and aharge, to celebrate, even if their humor will be 100% kosher. It's to a mixed crowd. And even if it would be 100% kosher, the very fact that they said they're ringing in the new year, etc. You understand, with comedy, with late sunners, it's usher. Now, do not, I'm saying you can do what you want, but I said that until after Hanukkah, we're going to have a hiatus and we're going to see what happens. But after Hanukkah, if things don't change around, then I'll be giving H's, I'll be saying what to do, because it's our turn for B'chol Moedecha. We are being challenged, lahavdil, like Jack Phillips, who stood up, and many, many thousands of Noitzim with him. And down last January of 2018, in the frigid winter, I went down and stood in the cold and traveled back and forth to Washington, left my house 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, you understand, just to stand outside so that the Gentiles should see there was a handful of 3 or 4 Fruma Yidden that was saying, Imanu, this is our fight also, and sure enough, it's coming to us. Because I know, because Rav Lezer Shach said, amongst others, that whatever they do in America, the garbage, we have to fight it, because the Chinuch says that we are impacted by our environment. You know how many Mishkav Zohar organizations there are in Eretz Yisrael in America that claim to be Orthodox? I've said this in the past, I'll say it again. He said, we in Eretz Yisrael have to thank you because it's coming to us soon. So I see the connection. Rav Shach saw the connection. Shem Ritzion saw the connection. I saw it because of them, because of my Rebbe, Rav Victor Miller. So that's what I'm imparting to you. And now you have an achrayus. And if it pays, if it comes to something, we have to put our bodies on the line. We have to put our money on the line. We have to put our talents on the line. And we have to fight this incursion, this breach in Chaymas Kedushas Yisrael. Then so be it. We daren't back down. Oh, but the person's going to lose our parnasa. So that's what Hashem wants. Jack Phillips also lost the parnasa. Okay? You think from all this fighting, I have nachas. Why don't I even attempt to get advertisers on this program? Because who's going to advertise in a program where I tell the truth politically incorrect like this? So I sacrifice also. I'm allowed to speak about B'chol Moedecha, because believe me, you dumb and tarkin mashmul. Dumb means blood in Aramaic, and it means money, and I expend both. I don't get any covered being attacked by these lowlifes. When I tried on the phone I want to quote unquote validation, because I heard she's a comedian and she knows this. So I made the stupid mistake of asking her, what do you say to this and what do you say to that? How do you like the way I argue this? And when I spoke for around 13 minutes, I made a post of 9 or 13 minutes. And they asked me, how do you speak to a kid who comes out that he's Mishkav Zohar? And she herself said it was wonderful, etc. But she asked me a question, what are you going to say to a Mishkav Zohar couple that married each other? I mean, in other words, I'm the shell answer man. He said Shell Yes used to have advertisers, the shell answer man. I have to have all the answers. If I don't have all the answers, I'm an upgefrekter. But she herself said that my songs are beautiful and talented. And she herself said, and she's a mumcha on these things, because she was fighting to support the whole LGBTQRS TV lifestyle. And she said, I answered very good about how, in a sensitive way, to deal with Mishkav Zohar. And P.S., there are Mishkav Zohar people who call me up and they get chizik from me. So I'm not nishtoimim for whatever they're going to put out about me. Unbound. Ufortzu chayvus migdalai, nisht by Motya, not by me, Yehuda Levin. No. By the way, I'm coming to Lakewood. Please spread the word. I'm coming to Lakewood tomorrow night, Thursday night. When this program will be playing on the radio, I will be in Lakewood at Berdichev. Okay? And you can ask any questions you want. Nothing is off limits. In terms of asking questions, I might have to be careful. I'm not going to mention moisters, etc., or particular names, but I'm going to speak about the issues at hand. I'm going to speak about the ex-massification of Hanukkah. I'm going to speak about the Haredi media and analyze to you how they're betraying us and they're quasi-misyavnim. And a lot of stuff I'll tell Mises upon requests of Mises with Gedali Yisrael of yesterday, how I met Rabbi Gemil of the Kasher Rav, they've seen the Rav, Shem Metzion Balacha, and Moshe Halberstam, what I did to help stop a parade one year in Eretz Yisrael that became the subject of a documentary that went around the world, where I was the principal person fighting against the Mishkav Zacha parade in Yerushalayim. Okay, there's a lot of stuff. We'll do Zmiris, we'll have some Torah. It'll be great. Please spread the word and come. Please. Let's go weiter here. Let's go weiter. One thing to know, the Chazal say that if we wouldn't have laws of tznius, regulations, and other prescriptions about being tzniustic, we'd be able to learn from a cat about tznius. It's, in other words, it's a rational thing that even we could see in the animal kingdom. There's certain tznius. Similarly, you should know that one of the reasons that they're still around, that we're seeing things, is we can learn tznius from the hypocrites. The hypocrites means the Araba, that the Chazal say that Tisha Asar Kavim Shel Znus came down to the world, and Tisha Kavim by the Yishmaelim. That's why they wouldn't accept the Torah. Nevertheless, their women go around in burqas and langa begodim that you can't see the contours, and they go around covered, and some of them only the eyes, etc., etc. And they always gravitate to be sticking around near the Orthodox Jewish community, whether it's in the outskirts of Flatbush and Coney Island Avenue. You can see their majidals, their places where they pray and they come and they go. You can see them walking down the streets. In Borough Park on 13th Avenue, you can see them. You can stand at a bank and you can be standing behind a woman. You can be standing behind a Hasidic woman, let's say from Bobov, if you have to, and she's in front by the teller, and you have to turn your eyes away, excuse me, because of the contours of the clothing and the shaydik kind of the clothing. Not everybody, but you have to, let's be honest. You understand that they're paying hundreds and hundreds of dollars for, and then this one comes and she goes and you can't see anything. It's a reminder, it's a tip, it's a pinch to us to remind us of tznius. The same thing, I once got a call from Katolisha. What was the story? They're working for the government, and deep underground in the subterranean thing, like some kind of a missile base or something, and it had to be that a Catholic man had to be alone with a woman. And he told me a chiddush I didn't know, that they also have some kind of Catholic law. I'm sure that many Catholics are not in this one, about yichud. And he was going through a hearing, Poshet, and he wanted to substantiate to the hearing officers that he's not discriminating against the woman. It's part of the religion. It's not just his mishikas. He wanted to show the Jews have it also. You hear? So again, they are machayev us. The Jack Phillipses are machayev us what we have to be prepared to do. And Hashem is giving us a challenge now with these three feminazis of sodomy. You understand? They're pushing this woods and they're threatening us to scream, Mimi, if you continue to fight, your children will be like this. If you judge them, they're going to commit suicide. So they're trying to choke us. You understand the threats that these half-wit flit brains make? They're telling us if we stand up for the Torah values and we don't want lechatchila ariba, then this is going to lead to from children committing suicide because they're so bullied by the fact that we're opposed to the three comedian people appearing on a New Year celebration in Haredi Borough Park of Flatbush. Do you understand the chutzpah, the unbelievable stupidity of this? And who's speaking out? The Rabbanim, but they make sure to speak out against about the vaccines and everything else. What about the spiritual? Maybe we wouldn't need so many vaccines for measles or anything else if we were inoculated, if we were immune to all the schmutz that's going on. What about the rabbi speaking out on this? Nechtige Tag. Levin's a Meshugana, because Levin speaks out. The rabbis don't. We're the rabbis, so therefore, etc., etc. So the half-brains send me, what are you doing? None of the Rosh Hashivas are doing it. So I answer them with Pinchas. When Pinchas did his kanoyas, Moshe Rabbeinu forgot the halacha. Pinchas reminded him. And Moshe Rabbeinu told him, Karina Digert, you allowed me for Vanka. You reminded me the halacha, you go kill him. Why didn't Moshe Rabbeinu say, I'm the Rosh Barag, I'm going to kill them? And take the Romach from Pinchas and do the job and set the archetype, the prototype for all generations, because he understood that in future generations, it was by Ne'es Hashem Hoyos, like we say in Hallel. This is part of the Hallel B'Hoido. What I'm singing now, Ne'es Hashem Hoyos, in the Flos Beinenu. Moshe Rabbeinu, I'm saying Hallel on, that he understood that you're going to have to fight the misyavnikite within your own community. And people are going to say, you're not a Rebbe, you're not a Rosh Hashiva, you're not a Talmud Chacham, you're not this. How are you allowed to stand up? The answer is, Pinchas, he had a Messiah from his Rabbeim. You take the Roimach, Like Yehuda Maccabee, he was called Maccabee because of his Reimach, because of his hammer. Okay, that's besides Mikamech B'Kelim Hashem. Okay, B'Kelim Hashem. You understand? So that's what it's all about. You want to be a Maccabee? Now's the time to recharge your batteries. You want to be a B'chol Ma'idech Yid? Join the fray. You're welcome. So there'll be a handful of us. You'll be Neukel Skar Keneged Kulam. Now, another thing they love to say is, we hate them, we hate them. We should hate them because of what the Mishnah Berurah says from David HaMelech. David HaMelech says, Takta Sinas Sinesi, but we don't hate them. We don't hate them. You know why we don't hate them? Number one, we're not on a madrega to hate. Pure good. When Moshe Feinstein wrote, Laharis Goli, the letter that I solicited, Laharis Goli L'chola Amim, to show in a revelatory way, to reveal to all the nations of the world, Sha'am Hashem Sonei Toeva, we loathe the abomination. Understand? We should be zeicha that we should hate the acts of adultery, of underage relationship with children, of porn heading children, of sodomizing and introducing into sodomy children. We should hate even the deed, the person. We're far from hating the people. I say Edus to myself that unfortunately, or whatever, the Mitzvah says, I'm not on the madrega to hate them. I loathe what they're doing when they struggle and they try and they fail. I have compassion for them. When they try to make a sheet out of it, when they try to promote it, when they try to hit us over the head and threaten us, you're going to cause them, but your judgmentalism is going to cause them to commit suicide. So shut up, Levin, and all you Charedim, and let us do what we want. And in school after school, the modern Orthodox, the Shalhevet Oswerfen, what they're doing, a guy named Spiegel, that it's all over the internet, what he's doing in Los Angeles, and they're doing this in the Ari Hasadeh, in schools that are associated with Torah Messiah. It's very good to get into the machlokes of Ramakil, Kotler, the Dovminska, about who to side with, which Gedolim in Eretz Yisrael, and etc., etc. I'm not going to get into that morass. The point is, it's easier there when the machlokes is 6,000 miles away. Why doesn't the Gedolim, why don't the Gedolim of Torah Messiah do something? L'zeicha nishmas Reb Avram Chaim Levin, Zeicha Tzadik Livrocha, who just passed away. Do something and come out with a statement, not like Merwis in England. You understand? Come out like an American revolutionary. Okay, like a colonist. Stand up here, Paul Revere. Come out with directions in terms of Messiah, what these modern Orthodox schools are allowed to do. Oh, but if we do this, we're going to lose them, and we have to push Yiddish guys, so we have to turn the other cheek and let them make their clubs and let them have their tolerance, etc., etc. At the same time, then in New Jersey, they're already pushing into public schools. New Jersey, one of the most densely populated Orthodox communities. What is Avi Schnall from Aguda doing to stop this bill? It doesn't have to do with us. It's only the public schools. Tippish, fool, you don't understand that it's coming to a theater near you, it's coming to the Orthodox. So where's Torah Messiah? They're ahead of the curve? Shame. Why aren't they doing something? They need Yehuda Levin to suggest, let's count. Remember I came out months ago and I spoke out against Merwis as soon as it came out. Rabbi Sternbuch came out. I don't know how many other American rabbis came out. I don't know how many European rabbis came out. Some did because they were under pressure probably from Eretz Yisrael, so they came out afterwards, Rabbi Halpern and stuff like that. And they came out with a watered-down thing, You know, he's a great man, Rabbi Meir's bug. We don't agree with what he's saying. That wasn't the way to do it, but that's why Sternbuch came out even starker. The question is, what is Torah Messiah going to do about this? They're into education. Is Torah Messiah sending down Nate Siegel, whoever is their knocker there, to speak in front of that hearing that's being held tomorrow? Huh? We let all the Gentiles do the heavy lifting, we lean back, then eventually it comes to a bakery, a restaurant, it comes to a yeshiva close to you. Somebody has to say these things. I'm happy to say these things. I didn't drink the Kool-Aid. Let's see what else we have over here. By the way, the New York Times had an article that's making its way around the blogosphere. This guy wrote, you know, I have a big problem. My daughter wanted Santa. My daughter wanted, he's a Freie Yid, a progressive, a pro-Mishkav Zach and everything. My daughter wanted, and what am I going to do? I can't give her a Kratzmach tree and everything else. So he says, I went to the library, and I made research about books, and I said, how can I celebrate Hanukkah? Hanukkah is about the fundamentalist Jews, the Perushim, defeating the Tzedaikim and the Misyavnim. So he says, but he fears us at the end of the piece, but I have to bite the bullet in order. He has to save his child from the kratzmach tree and from the Santa Claus. So therefore, he's going to give a dreidel and kosher and candies and presents every night. That's part of Hanukkah, presents every night. That's part of the Xmessification of Hanukkah, presents every night. It's only by him, the friar. This idiocy with the presents is by the Yidden also. The first thing is the presents. They took from a holy thing that I'll explain at a different time, that the Magen Avram said that the Na'arim are Pesach on the right, and they ask, Hanukkah is on one side, Mezuzah B'Yamin, Ner Hanukkah Mismoil, but only Ha'imid B'Pesach in the middle, he holds out his hand, he gives him tzedakah. That's a holy triumvirate. You know why? Because Hanukkah is the last mitzvah. It's Mashlam the Kesser, the crown of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, which is 620, the Taryag mitzvahs, and 13, and the 7 Rabbanans, and Hanukkah is the last one. And therefore, we're in a way getting back to a tikkun of the Chet, going all the way back to the Nachash HaKadmain. And part of the problem was Ha'ishish and Asata Imadi, the woman, he nasnally, she proffered to me, she gave me. That's why before Sukkot, when we're masaking with Esther, before Moischitim, this giving of tzedakah, bite the bullet, and he's going to for the Haredi Jews. That's basically what he says. So you know what? I have a Taiman Lubavitch. Puts on the cherry picker, yeah? They go, who says for every Mishka Zacha Hashchasa, besides, we're not going to get into that, you understand? I'm a novel, I'm a nudder face. And he pushes to transcendent bathroom, and then this Corey the Mishkav Zacha, just speaker of the city council, the second most powerful person in the New York government, and Chabad brings them out. They cherry pick the mitzvahs that they keep. The mitzvah of Sheva Mitzvah Neach, the mitzvah for Chanukah, we do it like Hellenists. We bring. And how could they take such shmuchaks that Corey Johnson should be the menorah lighting secretary? He represents Yavan. That Yavan, Rev Hutner said in my Marim, Rev Moshe Shapiro said it. Part of it was the homosexual culture. I wasn't Machadish this. They said it. It's very posh. That was the Greek culture of the time in the gymnasia, when the Kahanim were going there to play in the gymnasia. So how do you bring a Corey Johnson or Oiswaf that you can't for him with the rituals of, instead of being mashlim the keser, you are mechasa the keser, Oiswafin. So then I was Melamed Zchus. They do it because they want it to be culturally correct. So they bring somebody to represent Antiochus, the king, and somebody to represent the general, Halfunis, who Yehudis cut off the head and started the Hanukkah revolution, so to speak, etc. So one of them is Antiochus, one of them is Halfunis. So they're putting a cherry picker, Antiochus, to show, you understand? I don't know, I'm just trying to Melamed Zchus in the Chabadskis, you know? Woohoo! So then I realized something else. They have another cheshbon. They have a cheshbon that they want to appeal to people to be macabre them at the Chabad houses, and they make them all from. They don't try to make them Lubavitches. They try to make them from, like Esha Torah tries to make them from. Chabad also tries to make them from. Which comes first? Chitas and Fabrengen magazine and Yom and spitting down by Alkein by Banach the Kemishtag Medim Shem Shtag the Hevel Rik. Why don't they spit when they take these oisvarfin to the Hanukkah menorahs? Then they should spit. Everybody should spit by the cherry picker right near to de Blasio and all the. They do this all over the country. So I have a geography game that we could play. It's called Chabad Geography. Count up how many cherry pickers there are going up all over the world, and how many Chabadskis, and let's figure out how many people. They're lifting up politicians who are oisvarfin, who are Yevonim and Misyavim, and Jews or Gentiles, etc., etc. And the one who gets closest gets a free donut. You understand? And he could sing Hu Elekenu, Hu Avinu, and he could spit against the false god, because they're not promoting a false god by doing this thing. I'm not against Lubavitch. I daven Lubavitch. I won't take garbage. Answer. Last week we spoke about the Diane Brown, who said you can vote for everybody, and here they go, B'maisi, you're dying b'peil mamish, l'mayla me'asor t'fochim, get heich, as if the Tower of Babel, they built heich, the Shechin is coming down to us, but Lubavitch doesn't want to wait. We want Mashiach, now they're going up on the cherry picker with the mushchas. I'm sure the Rebbe in the Olam HaEmes is very proud. If you don't believe me, go. Open up your chitas, hayem, and pick a posuk, and let's see you show me that the Rebbe says, yes, you should be machabed the Mishkevei Zacha, or go and fax the Rebbe and ask him for a question, go in the ale. don't believe the Rebbe is going to support this kind of Hanifa. The Rebbe was a strong personality, and the Rebbe on the 14th of Adar in 1967 in the Spurim spoke out against the Shmutz, and when he spoke about Shem Nitzvah, he gave a Sicha against the Shmutz, and you are disgracing your Rebbe, but much worse than that, you're disgracing God. Fair, shame, it's terrible, okay? So much for that. Where did I say? Okay, so another limud zchus is that since they want to be makar of the Daniel, whatever his name is, who wrote in the New York Times, and he says, we shouldn't be celebrating this. If they don't celebrate Chanukah, if the Fraya don't come out to City Hall and Prospect Park and all over where they're doing this, they make Pirsumei Nesa, they're not doing the mitzvah of the Rebbe. So therefore they have to turn the other cheek, they have to sacrifice a little, so they bring in the Misyavnim and the Yavanim. Everybody should feel kumbaya, comfortable. We are all part of the same community, Jew and Christian alike. We can all light the menorah. It's a universal thing. Even the Misyavnim and the Yavanim can come into it. Shtusim v'havolim, tipshim and oxen. What could I do? I'm going to get in trouble? I'm not trying to win a popularity contest. You don't understand. Oid ba'at v'yiskaluni. People can't stand, they resent, but answers they don't have. Answer the Moira voice in the final minutes. Chanukah is a time of tefillah. L'hoidais u'lahalel. It's a time of tefillah. Chanukah is murdered because it's a chazal that says, we say to Hashem, come to us, come down to us, and then we'll come to you. And Hashem says, Shuva alayich va'ashuva aleichem. You come to me first, then I'll come to you. But on Chanukah, even by Sukkot, Hashem doesn't come to Matam Esor Tvachim. When the Chanukah, Hashem comes to Matam Esor Tvachim. It's unbelievable. It's during the week also. So Rabbi Sai, Chanukah is an 8-day tefillah fest. Hashem is much closer to us. Kairav Hashem l'chol kairav. He's much closer because he comes down into the nether, into the 10 tefachim, which I spoke about in the past. That means l'matam esar tefachim, mamish. Where the Rebbe says, "V'agolad didan l'matam esar tefachim." So what do? Daven. So how do you daven with kavanah? So I'm going to give you a few tips before we get off the phone. We have basically 2 or 3 minutes for tips. First of all, when you start Shemoneh Esrei, it's very important. Hashem sefasai tiftach fi yagit elesecha. You're mispalot that your mind and your heart, you should be able to bring out the inside of you that's still pure, and the Magen Avraham, the part of you which is Avraham, which was untainted and unsullied by sin. You want to bring that out. When you say the words Kishem Hashem Ekra Havakol, do you ever think what you're saying, Rabbi Sai? You're talking to 2 institutions. Kishem Hashem Ekra. You're talking to Kol Atzmosei Tamarno. All your Evarim inside that represent spiritual things, you harness them. You close your eyes. You take 3 steps back. And then you walk 3 steps towards Hashem, not on a cherry picker, but you're elevating yourself. You're leaving the world behind, and you're facing towards Hashem. You're facing towards Eretz Yisrael, Yerushalayim, Beis Hamikdash, Kachikachim. You're focusing your tefillah, and you're saying to all your Evarim, Kolai Tzmoisai Tamarna, let's get it on with the Lord. Let's talk to Hashem. He's waiting to hear us. And now, Chanukah, he's l'matam yasar tzvachim. And you say to all the malachim, because you're constantly surrounded by malachim, good ones and bad ones, like we know Shalom Aleichem. You say to all your good malachim, Kishem Hashem Ekra, when I call out in Hashem's name, you malachim, havu goydel elekenu, join me, elevate my prayers, etc., etc. That's how you start to focus with kavanah. When you say Magen Avraham, you think about the part of us that's untainted, unsullied, that relates to Avraham Avinu, despite all the junk, adultery, Mishkav Zohar, Geneva, Ritzicha. There's a part of us untainted and unsullied. And therefore we want that part to be Magen Avraham, to be defended. When you say to Kabbalah, it's a love single. We blow to him, and by the Gulish, in the blood, Hashem blow to us. We don't know what words to say. Hashem, the son, nice, Kabbalah is saying to give us a had you let this happen, there would be 1,000 people standing outside of Arcadia of with doing the Monroe and from 10,000 people, our children, our grandchildren, futuristic. We have to thank Hashem, focus in tefillah, and Yirtzeh Hashem, this is the time now. And commit yourself in front of the enlightening of the Chanukah menorah. Look at the Chanukah menorah and say, Hashem, purify my eyes from the lois surach levavchem v'yachay. And I want to make a commitment. Yehuda Levin and everybody else in Klal Yisrael will be doing one Nizr and Shmir Seinayin and enlighten us in our heads to what we see and what we think about, etc., etc. This is Yehuda Levin. I'll see you in Lakewood on Thursday night for sure, and maybe on Shabbos. See you in Berdichev. Until then, Afreilich and Chanukah. It's been wonderful talking to you. We should be Zoicha to the Geula Shleima B'Korev. The Matam Yasar Dvochem B'Didan V'Agol Didan on can compromising cherry pickers.